Now the Buffalo planter standard equipment is with an 18-inch coulter in the front with 12-inch depth bands that act as a gauge wheel for the row unit. Now we also have illustrated or shown here residue clippers which provide several services. The front coulter cuts the residue down the middle, while the two coulters on the side cut and pull the stalks out of the row, leaving a clean path for the sweep to concentrate on shaving the top of the ridge off. It prevents plugging, especially after a heavy dew at night. Residue after a cool night will take moisture in. And anytime residue becomes wet, it's like wet rope. It's very difficult to cut it, and it does not like to flow well. These push the residue out of the row to keep the farmer planting. It's also very important to keep the coulters sharp so they cut the residue easily. The difference between a sharp knife or a dull knife. You have to have the discs sharp. The residue clippers will also trim weeds away from the side of the ridge. They're not intended to be run very deep. Normally 1 to 2 inches deep maximum. About an inch deep actually. But that's how the front mechanism of the planter works. Now as we follow through the back, this shows an optional residue guard that fills in the area or gap between the residue guards and the sweep. Now the sweep is a 14-inch wide sweep that's designed to shear the top of the ridge off and get to moist soil. The planter shoe follows with the front half of the planter shoe splitting the root crown down the middle. It's designed to part the root ball so the seed groove can be formed through it. Then the forming bar helps enlarge that groove and firm the soil for the seed to be dropped down into at this point. And it will drop to the bottom of this V. At that point, we follow with the seed press wheel, which is designed to flex and press the seed into that groove under the pressure of the down pressure spring. Up to this point, and we can see the tire flexing here, up to this point we have our seed to soil contact here. So all we need is a light covering of soil over the back. Now we can adjust the tension on these cover brackets with this adjustment knob to loosen or tighten. We look at this spring against the gauge mechanism to put more or less pressure. We loosen the spring to put less pressure, tighten it to increase the pressure. The screw jack and sight gauge in the back side, here you might swing to the other side here. This sight gauge and screw jack adjusts the tail height of the planter shoe to fine-tune the seed depth. Now the forming bar is made of a white iron cast material, which is very hard. It will probably outwear the root cutter 2 to 1. It will outlast the root cutter by far 2 to 1. The gauge arm adjustment is identical to this adjustment, again using a spring-loaded stainless steel ball that clicks in a groove every quarter turn of the shaft. Now to finish out or round out the planter, we have insecticide applicators to place insecticide in furrow, as well as a dry herbicide or liquid herbicide spray brackets. They're designed with the swing away mechanism. If we swing the bander through a draw and hit it, it'll always return back to original without being destroyed.
So you don't apply herbicide clear across the field with it. You only apply it
The dry, we only apply in a band.
In a band, right where you plant it, so you save a lot of herbicide.
Right. You betcha. Herbicides costs can be greatly reduced by banding.
And it's less environmentally
Right.
problems.
We finish out the incorporation of the chemicals with the tine incorporator. Now these tines are designed when the planter lifts up to swing forward. So if you back through a grass waterway or whatever, you're not going to damage the tines. There's adjustment plates on the side that you set, so when it sets down and pulls ahead, they swing back and hit a stop to whatever desired angle you want to run them at. But they do a beautiful job of smoothing out the soil and clumps of soil over the seed bed. It's a very beautiful seed bed. Body, the different styles of forming bars, and the replaceable root cutter. Now we also have a liquid fertilizer shoe that has a stainless steel tube that runs down into here and places fertilizer an inch directly below the seed. And this replaceable blade has a stainless steel tube just welded to the back of it for the liquid fertilizer.